our awesome senator from Hamden here, George Cabrera.
I'd like to give a round of applause for one of the hardest working chairmen in politics, Chris. Are you ready, Hamden? I can't hear you. Are you ready? We are almost there. Thanks for coming out on this rainy day. It shows the commitment and the passion you all have to change our town. I'm not going to take too much longer in introducing our next awesome guest, President of the State Senate, someone who's become a friend and a mentor to me, who has been fighting the fight for working men and women for so many decades, our friend, Senator Martin Luther.
It's a great thing that now Hamden has a resident senator, and we're going to keep it that way by keeping control of the 17th district with bigger margins coming in every single election. George has done a superb job, as you all know, and his work is to be celebrated. And this election, this is an exciting new time for Hamden with so many new people running with so much energy. Lauren is going to be a great mayor for the town of Hamden, as we all know. We want to see that result reflected in the election results on Tuesday. But it's important also, we also have to remember that what we're seeing now is not what it was in prior years. The Republican Party is not what it was 20 or 30 years ago. It's much more dangerous, much more destructive, much more malicious, much more reckless, and much more irresponsible than it was in its for most of its history and most of its practices. While it used to be a party that just didn't believe that government should spend that much or be involved in helping with social services, now it really has this poisoned atmosphere that's come with Trump. And we know that, and we see that. And what we need to work out, people say, well, in Connecticut, the Republicans aren't like that. They're a more moderate group.
No.
But that's increasingly not true either.
That's right.
They are making, the extreme groups are starting to make inroads in Connecticut. And we have to fight that every way we can. If you look just what's happening close by here in Guilford, the battle for the Board of Ed, where a right-wing group has taken over the Republican slots for their slate of candidates for the Board of Ed. And if they win, that'll be disastrous for the town of Guilford. So there's a lot at stake in municipal elections. We don't want to let them get a foothold in Hamden or anywhere else, because it really is a poisonous influence that we're seeing. And of course, that is something that our wonderful U.S. Senator Dick Blumenthal has been fighting for his 2 terms in the U.S. Senate. And before that, for 20 years as Attorney General, before that, as a state senator. He sees firsthand what is happening every single day with the Republican Party being no longer a responsible party, but being a party that basically thumbs its nose at democracy and democratic traditions. And it is only the Democrats like Senator Blumenthal in Washington who are fighting for fair process, for due process, and for honoring our traditions. So lately, we know that as Attorney General, he was extraordinary in being an advocate for consumers. He's taken that on as well as a U.S. Senator, of course, in so many ways, most recently in going after some of the practices of Facebook that have been so predatory to young people. And he has exposed that. He shed that to the light of day, and he has them scrambling to change their image. They've already changed their name, but he's going to make sure they change their practices. Who will be on the ballot next year for a 3rd term, Senator Dick Blumenthal.
How about a round of applause for one of our very best state senators in Connecticut's history, my friend Martin Luther. And I will tell you, the last time I was here was another Sunday before an election when George Cabrera was elected. And that was a proud day for Hamden. George has done a fantastic job. You have a great delegation. They're here today. I'm so proud to stand with you, and thanks to one of the great town chairmen in the state of Connecticut. You're doing a great job, and I know that's going to be reflected in what happened. So Marty's right. I see some of the worst. I've seen some of the worst in the governance of America. And I've been proud with your support to stand up to Donald Trump. But I've also seen some of the best. I've seen some of the best. Some of the best is right here in Connecticut. Our governor, Ned Lamont. We can be proud to be Democrats and be at the top of the nation in our vaccination. We can be proud of our General Assembly, who is stood strong for science and public health, listening to the scientists, doing vaccinations and masks and everything that's recommended so that our infection rates have come down. We see the impact of public service and smart strategic thinking and action by people in government. And that leads me to Tuesday, because Hamden has a historic decision to make on Tuesday. You've all heard and read about Build Back Better, infrastructure, roads, bridges. Trillions of dollars are going to be spent throughout the country, including here in Connecticut. You want those dollars to be spent in a smart, strategic way. It's never been more important to have intelligent, honest leadership like Lauren will bring to the mayoral. You know, a lot of people say, gee, you know, being a United States Senator is a tough job. Well, it's tough these days to get Build Back Better because we don't have a single Republican siding with us, voting with us. But we're going to get it done. We're going to get Build Back Better done, investing in those roads and bridges. And equally important, investing in the people who use them with universal preschool, free universal preschool, daycare, childcare for everybody, make it affordable, more skill training, climate change. That's what we value as Democrats. And as tough as that job is, I'll tell you an even tougher job. Being mayor of any city these days in Connecticut. Being mayor is the toughest job there is. You know, if you're a United States Senator or if you're State Attorney General, if they don't like you in Hamden, you can always go to Stanford. If they don't like you in Stanford, you can go up to Hartford or Windsor or wherever. But if you're mayor of Hamden or any other municipality, you can't run and you can't hide. So this is a tough job. Running for it is tough too. Lauren needs support, and it's going to be a team effort. Vote row A, because she needs that team, right? She needs that team, and that team is going to be responsible for bringing Hamden truly into this century in terms of all that public infrastructure, but equally important, all the investment in people, the investment in education, the investment in childcare, all of the investment in Hamden's residents that are going to lead Hamden into a new era. So if I lived in Hamden, and I'm spending a lot of time here these days, and proudly, I would have no question about what the right decision is. And I think Hamden knows what the right decision is. The challenge is to get Hamden out to vote, turnout. That's the difference. There are going to be so many people who wake up on Wednesday and say, I wish I voted. We need to remind those people on Tuesday, they don't want to wake up with Lauren's opponent on Wednesday. They want to wake up and say, wow, I'm glad I voted because I'm going to get government that Hamden deserves. So I am really grateful to every one of you. We all have a stake in this election. Thank you for being here today, but more important, thank you for what you're going to do between now and the time to close polls on Tuesday, because it will make a really historic difference for Hamden. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all your hard work. I now give you the next mayor of Hamden. Lauren.
Thank you for being here today. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of phone calls to make. We have a lot of doors to knock. And thank you, Senator Blumenthal, for being here today. He's going to be here again tomorrow at Josh Elliott's house for a fundraiser and some Halloween fun. So please come to that as well. And we really want to see all of you helping out to turn out the vote for the next couple of days. So thank you for all that you have done so far. Keep going, okay? I want to acknowledge a few people who are here today. We have Eric Russell, Vice Chair of the State Party. Thank you for being here. We have Senator Winfield, who's here today as well. Thank you. State Representative Josh Elliott. And then we have Senator Looney and Senator Cabrera that you just heard. Thank you for being here and supporting us on row A. Now, if you look out to the street, there are no sewers out there. This is part of Build Back Better. We need to improve our infrastructure. Sewers are good for economic development. So this is the kind of stuff that we'll be working together with our state and federal delegation. And as an engineer, I'm really excited to do this kind of work. I'm going to be all over this stuff. So we have, we're in the 9th district right now, and that means that we need to get Nancy Hill elected. This is our most conservative district. This is where we need to concentrate our efforts in the 9th district and making sure that Ted Stevens wins in the 8th district. And just down the road, we need to make sure Kristen Zeringer gets elected. We have some close races in Hamden, and we need to make sure that our row A team gets elected. It's not just about the people running townwide. These council seats in the district, this is where we really have to fight. So thank you for being here and supporting row A and making sure that we have a clean sweep on Tuesday. So I know that we have outknocked the Republicans. We have outcalled the Republicans. We have outdebated the Republicans. We've outmailed the Republicans. Now it's time to out-GOTV them. Yeah. All right? So let's keep it going. Thank you for being here. And we're going to have another speaking tour in a few minutes. Oh, right. Oh, we can just keep the good time going. So we're all here today to hear from Senator Murphy. He's working up in Washington, D.C. with Senator Blumenthal, making sure that we have an infrastructure bill to help us in Hamden. Everything that you heard Senator Blumenthal talk about, bridges, roads, sewers, childcare, we need this in Hamden. This is all about helping people, which is what Democrats do. So I'm very happy to have Senator Murphy here. Senator Murphy just did an excellent video for us. That was so nice of you. Thank you so much. And I'd love to have you say a few words.
Great. Listen, thank you very much, Lauren, and thank you to the whole team. I have no idea what Blumenthal said, so I'm going to
Don't tell them all the bad things.
Well, listen, I'm just so excited to be here with, of course, Marty, who taught me an enormous amount about what it means to be a great public service, to speak truth to power. When I got to the state senate, he allowed me to take over the health committee at a really critical time, and I owe a lot to him. Your state delegation is just absolutely fantastic, small but mighty, and just kicking butt for Hamden every single day up in Hartford. And listen, I just wanted to be here to sort of share this growing enthusiasm about your campaign, and to, just sort of lay down a couple reasons why this matters so much to the delegation. And I apologize if Dick covered it, but I assume he talked to you about what we think is going to happen in the next 30 days. We think we're going to pass probably the most significant investment in American families and infrastructure in the history of this country. And yet it's not going to happen automatically. It's not like this bill's going to be turned on and everybody's life is going to change. So much of it is going to depend on what you do and what your team does in positions of leadership. And I'll give you an example. So two of the most important investments in the Build Back Better agenda are universal pre-K and affordable childcare. For the first time in this country, every single 3- and 4-year-old is going to have an ability to go to preschool, and everybody who's making under $90,000 in Connecticut is going to be guaranteed to pay no more than 7% of their income on childcare. That could be a $10,000 to $15,000 savings for every single family. But that can't happen by itself. Why? Because you have to build out that childcare infrastructure, that pre-K infrastructure. The federal government's not going to do that. The federal government's going to set up the funding and the tax programs to help families afford it, but it really is going to be proactive mayors and first select people and boards of education who are going to have to implement the plan to make sure that with the funding there, we now have providers and nonprofits that are ready to step into the breach. And so that's why Lauren's and her grassroots campaign, right, seems so totally matched to this moment. And we're really excited to be partners with you in this exceptional period of investment in families. But the other piece of your campaign that really speaks to this moment is, the fight that we have for democracy right now. And let's be honest, people are asking some real questions as to whether democracy still works for them, because they've been treading water. They've seen the elites, the billionaires, the millionaires, the corporations do better and better throughout the pandemic, right? The 700 billionaires in this country saw their wealth increase by $1.5 trillion during the pandemic, while 700,000 Americans died. That's insane. How do we allow that to happen? And so there's this question people are asking is, does democracy work any longer? We're going to try to answer that question. But really, the main place that people interact with democracy is right here at the local level. And they think that democracy has cut a deal with the elites. Well, your campaign and your mayorship is going to be all about a big table, right? I mean, that's the whole point of your primary campaign and your general election campaign is saying everybody in Hamden is going to have a seat, right? Anybody who has a good idea is going to be able to have input. We're not going to use politics to divide people. We're going to use politics to unite people. And that is going to be part of the story about how we save American democracy. What happens at the local level to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table of democracy. And so the stakes are like really huge, right? Because we don't want to waste this opportunity to invest in people's lives. That means there's got to be this super tight connection between the federal government, the state government, and local government, because we're going to have all these new resources. We've got to make sure that money is spent efficiently, because if it's not, people aren't going to let us do it ever again. And second, we got to expand the conversation and make sure everybody feels like they've got a place, and make sure they see leaders as unifiers rather as dividers. They lost the election in 2020, and so they've just transferred their attempt to use politics to divide from the federal level down to the local level. Right now, they want boards of education to be the place where these culture wars are fought, where people are taught to fear others. And so that just raises the burden on what happens here in Hamden. A diverse community, a community that can show the path forward as to how folks of different incomes and races and religions all live together, right? This is a place where we can show success with this sort of new brand of politics that you have been proposing and pushing. So I think Dick and I just feel so lucky to be able to represent Connecticut in this moment, to be on the precipice of delivering something really incredible for the environment, for the climate, for American families. Feel grateful to have this amazing delegation that we get to work with, and are really, really excited to be able to dial you up in the mayor's office come post November 2nd. So go fight win, everybody. Thank you very
much. Isn't this great? We've got so many people here supporting our team.
Yeah.
I think that it just really speaks to the team that we have. So thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us, because Hamden's huge. We have so many doors to knock on, so many calls to make, and we need all of you. So thank you for being here. Make sure you vote on Tuesday in between talking to the voters, because I know we're gonna have a big team. I almost forgot on last election. But so just, do everything that you need to do, and we're always here for you if you need any help. And we are a big idea team and inclusive, and I'm so excited about it. So thank you, everybody. And we've got donation forms in the back. And we're gonna be at Josh's house tomorrow. What time?
12 o'clock.
12. Wonderful, great. And then knocking on doors.
Yeah.
So join us, thank you.